Tower of God Season 2 Episode 7. And to be honest, I was expecting to see Bam and Urek Mazino fight in this episode. The last episode ended with them about to fight. So yeah, of course I expected them to fight in this episode. But surprisingly enough, we didn't get that. And there was actually a very good reason for that, as we all saw in the episode. It was because actually Miseng, I guess you can say, got in the middle of the fight. And Bam had to save her. So yeah, because of that, we didn't get to see the fight. Although I would say that she getting in the way, the events that transpire in this episode were even more important than just having a simple fight. I would say that because when we consider what happened, yeah, it is actually very important. We see that Bam actually put his life on the line. Actually, I guess you can say almost sacrificed himself for Miseng, and a lot of people were there to see it. And what that will do is that now moving forward, even more people will not doubt, I guess you can say, Bam's commitment, will not doubt Bam in any way. It was a way to show him as being a trustworthy person. So yeah, what better way to show that you're trustworthy, and I guess you can say sacrificing yourself for another person. And yeah, because of that, I think what happened in this episode is even more important than just simply having a fight. So that is something that is actually very good for Bam. Also, Urek Mazino mentioned something along the lines that he's actually the strongest person. I don't know if that is actually factually true, or maybe he was hyping himself up, but he definitely seems to be very strong. So he's definitely a very strong person. Again, I don't know if it's actually true that he's actually one of the strongest person in the Tower of God universe, but yeah, that was a little bit surprising. Also, there was another big surprise in this mission that they were taking, and that was that, I guess you can say, that turtle or whatever they are in, some sort of monster, has a big secret, and that is that the Cigaena, I think that is his name, basically has kids, and those kids basically feed on the flower that the Cigaena produces. So yeah, that was actually a secret that nobody knew. It was actually the Yeon family that was hiding that fact, and because of that, now the Yeon family, I guess you can say, had his name or his reputation ruined because of that. And you may be thinking, well, why is that the case? Why does hiding that make the Yeon family reputation fall down? And that is because the flower that was produced inside the Cigaena was seen as very rare, was seen as, I guess you can say, a commodity. I guess the best example of it will be a real life diamond or platinum. Yeah, it was seen as very rare, but now that we know that the reason why they are not produced as much is because, I mean, I guess you can say other people were killing the babies that were born. Well, now that the cat is out of the bag, and the cat being that the babies will now produce or will now be able to live, well, that will mean that the flower will no longer be rare, because there are now going to be a lot of Cigaenas, and those Cigaenas will in turn produce a lot of more flowers. So yeah, and because of all of this, we see Yihwa in this episode a little bit sad, a little bit depressed, because now her family's reputation has been ruined. Now I guess you can say she's no longer feeling as powerful, as frightful as she once was. But yeah, fortunately enough, we later see her, I guess you can say, retake her composure. So I guess that is also a good thing to see. Something that I consider very important, and that I was talking about in the last episode, was that of Bam's friends. I was talking about how maybe they were potentially bad people, how maybe they were not the nicest people. And this episode actually surprised me a little bit, because maybe I was wrong on that assessment, because what we saw in this episode maybe proved otherwise. We saw in this episode that Hwaryun and Jinsung, by the way, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but yeah, we saw them two actually being nice people. Yeah, they were actually acting nice to Bam and his friends, and that surprised me a little bit, because I thought that maybe they were not necessarily the nicest people, that maybe they were evil. But as we saw in this episode, that was actually not the case. We saw Jinsung defending himself against Karaka, because Karaka was saying that there were a lot of people doubting him, that the seniors, that the other Fox Slayers were doubting him, were doubting that he was, up to the task, up to the job, that maybe he was going to let his feelings, I guess you can say, invade his emotions, invade his decision making. So yeah, and because of that, Jinsung was defending himself. He was saying that no, he was not going to let that happen. But I would dare to say that he's actually letting his emotions, I guess you can say, almost guide him. So yeah, I don't know how much that is true, that he said that he was not letting his emotions guide him. And then on the other side, we saw Hwaryun actually cheering up Yeon Yihwa. That tells you a lot about, I guess you can say, Hwaryun, that maybe she's not necessarily as cold as we all thought she was. Maybe she's a little bit more human. Maybe she does have emotions. Maybe she does care, for Bam and his party. So yeah, them both show a little bit of of being nice people in this episode, and yeah, that changed my opinion a lot compared to what I was thinking about in the last episode. Now, of course, I'm not necessarily saying that they are pure good, that they can make no wrong. I'm not saying that. Of course, they have a little bit of a dark side to them, but maybe they're not as bad as we all thought they were. But yeah, that was my episode review, and if you don't want to miss the next episode review, please subscribe to the channel. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, and yeah, that will be everything by me, and I guess I'll see you all in the next episode review.